This is my Kpakpo Shito. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Fairly spread out plant here. It's getting kind of tall. This is, well, it's in the container, but it's up to my chest here. The pods look really cool. I've never had this before. And this isn't a super hot, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's not, but it's got a fat calyx on it like bubblegum plants do. It's pretty neat looking. And these ripen to it looks like they're ripening to a red. That's what my first ripe one is looking like. Hi, this is Peter Stanley. Got something from my garden that's supposed to be a Kpakpo Shito. I think it's crossed though. And I've been pronouncing it Kpakpo Shito. But after looking online, I think the K's are silent. So I'm going to go with Kpakpo Shito. That still might be wrong, but it's probably closer than what I had. Everything I can find online is, in the videos, you'll notice I'm talking about these fat bleeding calyxes. Actually, just fat calyxes, but now they're bleeding through like bubble gums. And nothing I can find online has that. None of them have the fat calyx or any that bleed through like that. And everything I can find, it's more of a rounder shape, not like perfectly round, but just kind of blocky, round, kind of wrinkly. Nigel Carter did a review, and it was, maybe his looked like it was, I don't know, I guess a couple centimeters in diameter. It was maybe a cherry size, but like wrinkly. And he said it had maybe half of a habanero heat. So I'm wondering if this maybe I got the seed from a seed train, and they're only took a couple, 2 or 3 seeds, and this is one I'm growing is the only one that germinated. So I think it got crossed though, because I can't find any pictures of them that look like the shape's not consistent, and also I don't think they have the type calyx. It does look like a bubblegum, so I don't know if it was crossed with one of the parts that make a bubblegum. Like, I think they're crossed between a 7-pot yellow and a Moruga scorpion. So maybe one of those components, or maybe with a bubblegum plant. Maybe on a taste it'll get a better idea. If it's really, really, really hot, then I'll know definitely for sure it got crossed with something, one of the super hots. One thing I did notice though, like I grew a couple of bubblegum plants last year, and the plants were decent size, but they weren't really heavy producers of pods. It just wasn't super productive. And I've heard others have a similar experience, but this plant is like really, really, really productive. If you probably saw the intro video of the plant, it's got a ton of pods on it, so that's a really good thing too, if it turns out to be a good flavor pod. I am isolating some pods, so I'll save seed on it and maybe try growing from those next year and see what those turn out like. But anyway, let's go ahead and cut this open and we'll see what it looks like. So I've got 2. I'll just compare. It's 3.4 grams. Oops. It's 3.1 grams. That's probably going to be the one that's just a better looking pod of the 2, so I'm going to cut that one. I see a lot of little droplets of oil. Zoom that in a little bit. I'm thinking it probably is crossed with a super, because usually they have these little yellow drops, really oily. You'll see that with a lot of super hots. Yeah, it's got like a 7-pot kind of smell. So yeah, I think it's probably crossed with a super. It's very oily. I'm gonna go for it and see what it tastes like. Alright, I'm back. The heavy breathing you might hear in the background, it's my dog. So I apologize, like I can do about it, but he's just kind of anxious. So anyway, we've got the probably not Kpakpo Shito, and probably crossed with something very hot, I guess. Oh yeah. It tasted like a 7-pot. I like the bubblegum I've had before. It was very sweet. Heat came on pretty immediate once I swallowed. Wow, it's gonna be hot. A little bit of after I swallowed it, a little bit of bitterness, but when I was chewing it, it was very sweet. Sorry. It's still building. I feel it kind of tongue back in my mouth. A lot of salivation starting. Still building. Feel it in my stomach a little bit, not like a bad feeling, just kind of heat. I hope it doesn't give me a gut bomb because it's been a little while since I ate supper. Probably will. I should have thought about that. One thing that kind of helps it is not a very big pod. Feels like a size of an actual bubblegum pod. It'd be really big. Yeah. Eyes are watering a little bit. I think it's about peak though. It might still be building. I think it's going to give me a gut bomb though. Yeah, I should have ate something again right before I ate this. Usually like bubblegum. I've only eaten one whole, really two. One was a tiny one, and I did a pod review on it, and that was last year. And that one really attacked the back of my throat, and this one's not really doing that. It's kind of going up to the back of my throat, a lot on my tongue. It started kind of towards the back of my mouth, but it's definitely not as intense. It does have like a 7-pot smell and flavor, very sweet. Immediate heat, I really hit really hard. Felt like it was going to get a lot hotter than it did. And I think if they had more volume, there's only like 3 grams, so if it was like a 10-gram pod, it'd be pretty intense. I think that has a lot to do with how hot something feels, is how much of it you're eating at once too. Yeah, it's I think it's about pretty much. I'm pretty sure it's about peak, but it hasn't gone down any. It's pretty hot, but it's not like a super hot. Unless just my tolerance has gone up. I've eaten super hots, but this year I haven't really worked up to those yet, so I don't think it's a tolerance thing. I think it's just not as hot. But I definitely think I haven't eaten what I've known as a true Kpakpo Shito to compare, but just based on the review I saw with Nigel and what I've read, I'm pretty sure it's not one. Based on the flavor I could pick up in the smell, I think it was crossed with some kind of a 7-pot, probably with a bubblegum. So yeah, so I think it's a good pod. I can see a lot of use for it. I'm gonna try making a powder for sure, and maybe a puree or something. I need to preserve it some way. But it looks like a really heavy producer, so probably definitely be worth perpetuating, seeing how if it is a cross, I guess that would be an F1. So if next year F2, to see if it's has any of these same properties. So anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. It's starting to go down now. So that was the definitely a not Kpakpo Shito. Cost probably was some 7-pot variety, and not as hot as one of those. So it's probably somewhere in between the Kpakpo Shito and the 7-pot. So yeah, that's all I have to add. Hope you enjoyed that, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.